What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Connected to the Web with 2B's podcast on my channel, The World Wide Web of Lending, where we don't talk at all about lending, but we have a lot of fun. So just like I say every time, because I'm a bit nerdy, I'm really excited about my guest today. Tyler and I have known each other for a long time. I won't say because it's going to age me, not him. He's younger than me. But we met at Towson University after I left and came back in alumni capacity with our fraternity. We're both teaks at Towson. And super cool how we kind of came back in and met each other and kind of developed a little relationship, which is kind of neat. Yeah. But Tyler has got some pretty epic things in his recent history that I want to share. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but the idea that we keep coming back here is to bring business owners in, have a conversation about who you are, not just what you're selling. Because I think in this world with the social media and everything, we're losing that intimacy of knowing the person you're buying the product from. And this is kind of why we're doing that. So welcome today, man. Identify yourself for the camera, please.
Thank you. My name, excuse me, raspy voice. My name's Tyler DellaRatta, and I'm the owner of Morning Mugs Coffee.
You own a coffee shop.
I do.
Did you ever think that would be something that came out of your mouth?
No. I didn't drink coffee until after I graduated college.
What?
Yep.
What does this? You fell in love, kind of thing, or?
No,
Let's get into it, bro. Yeah. Like, where did this come from, man?
Well, I fell in love with the idea of business and owning my own business and what that meant.
Okay.
The story I tell everybody is it didn't hit me until a month into opening the business. So we opened, and, I put in all the hard work, and it's great. It's like, woo, own my own business. But what does that mean? Like, why was that so important to me?
Yeah.
And I say it took a month, but after a month, I realized that it's not about the coffee that brought me joy.
Okay.
For me, what's super fulfilling is just making somebody's day.
Mm.
And whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in gave me the opportunity to do that through a coffee shop, which couldn't have been more perfect. I mean, coffee is so integrated into society from
You're not kidding.
Everyone's routine, everybody's day, which gave me an opportunity to be that point in everybody's day, to put a smile on their face. And I get the chills because that...
gave me chills, totally.
Because, and you hit it right on the head. The product does not matter. Have a good product and be proud of the product you're putting out. But more than anything, it's the story and the person that they're buying from. So after about a month, I realized I had this place that was an extension of me. That people got to go to and enjoy life a little bit better or a little bit differently than if they went anywhere else or didn't come at all. And having that impact on somebody in their day just completely blew my mind with, what owning a business is all about. I'm sure, through just having conversations with buddies and friends, everybody has that business idea. And every time
yes.
Everybody has a great idea.
And they're all great. I was going to say they're all great.
They're all great. I always ask them why. And that's really important because when the going gets tough, it's not going to be money that keeps you there. It's not going to be your friends that keep you there. It's going to be the reason behind it all deep down. And for me, it was the fact that so many people took morning mugs and found enjoyment in it. That the amount of times I've wanted to light a match and toss it in there because holy shit, if I just losing my mind over this thing, or this is a really hard problem that, not everybody's dealing with that I have to deal with, but why?
Yeah.
Because it's fueling that purpose inside me. That again, a month into opening is what it took for me to realize that. And now that's the story I try and tell aspiring business owners is if you want to make a quick buck, it's not the chances of it being successful are
very low.
So much lower.
Yeah. Could
it happen? Sure. But even at the end of it, is it really going to be all worth it? So
not if the why's not there.
And exactly. And now now that I have that why, it's also, okay, I need to be in more places. I need there to be more Tyler DellaRatta's around there. And, I say Tyler DellaRatta's, but at the end of the day, it's my employees that deliver that experience.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an extension of me through the color guessing game and the fun atmosphere and just the good vibes. But finding the right people is that next level.
Oh God, yeah.
In the ladder, if you will.
It's tough.
Oh man, it's tough. My dad, a lot of unsolicited advice, but that was something he had mentioned.
It's what happens when you're a parent, brother. You'll know. At some point, you'll know.
Yes, this is where I'm learning these things.
You're gonna be given a lot of advice about things you don't know a whole lot about, just because they're gonna listen.
And it came from a protection standpoint. This one actually was more of the better one, which is hiring people sucks.
Yeah.
And anyone listening, it's gonna be the hardest thing that you do, because
super hard,
especially when you're a small business. That person is your spokesperson. They are the extension of you, and how they deliver your product or your experience makes or breaks your business. You can't be there 100% of the time. And if you are, you can't really grow.
Yep.
So you have to learn to trust. You have to learn to train, and you have to learn to just be okay with the fact that there's going to be somebody else doing your bidding for you. Finding those people can be difficult, but it can happen. And then when you find them and you find the right ones, you don't let them go. You don't put yourself in a hole trying to keep them.
Yeah.
But for me, it was always about, not many people's end goal is coffee or baristaing or anything. And if it is, that's also
awesome.
Fantastic.
Right.
But for me, it's always, what do you really want to do? And the manager I have now, Morgan, who is incredible, she was like, really, if I can find a career in coffee, that's what I would love to do. Her dad owned like 4 Subway franchises. So when I first talked to her,
she saw that journey.
And she understood that.
That's a great match. How'd you find her? Serendipity or?
Indeed. Yeah,
okay.
Just, and that's what it takes. But man, those interviews and man, those reaching out, but they're there. And she was willing to wait. She worked for a year and a half as just a barista before.
Wow.
It was kind of like an oh shit moment where we're like, oh my God, I need a manager. Like, I need somebody who knows what they're doing more than me.
Yeah.
So knock, knock, knock. Hey, Morgan, are you interested? Yeah. Perfect. Let's do this.
I mean, what the way you just described working for your company and what you're looking for an employee would give most people chills, especially if you're sitting across the table like, wow, in this coolness moment. But there's a honeymoon period. 2 weeks later, after you get the job and it's crazy and a customer barked because, heaven forbid, their experience wasn't what you wanted it to be, those moments, they don't have that same passion. And it's tough as an employee to match the vibe of an employer. And they all want to work for someone that talks like that.
Right.
But there's an expectation. If you're willing to treat them like they are liaisons for your vision, they have to be able to receive that and then pass that to the customer. And that's the trouble, man.
And it can be done. And, because look at some of the greatest businesses in the world. My favorite being Chick-fil-A. I am trying to figure out how they have brainwashed, and I use the word brainwash, but how they have brainwashed every single one of their employees, to use the words of my pleasure. Talk about getting people to buy in. And this is all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
To the drive-through person taking your order. To create something like that, so it shows it can be done, but to create something like that, even on a small scale, one, for me, it was just about being myself.
Yeah.
Going kind of back to that purpose, it's really easy to let the purpose bleed through the business when it's honest and true. So for me, that's what it was all about. I mean, the way that I treat customers is, it's almost like, I'm sure like your kids see you do stuff. I think the joke is like when you become a parent, you all of a sudden have to become like a really good person because you don't want your kid to be an asshole.
Yeah.
But there is a level of, that sponge when an employee moves to a new company.
That mirror.
The mirroring, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've not been able to be in the shop as much just with growth and things like that, but that's where Morgan came in, and Morgan was bought in. And finding somebody that's bought into your vision, man, that feels
oh my gosh, yeah.
Because and it took me a while, but not everybody wants this.
Yeah.
Not everybody,
with all due respect.
Yeah. Not everybody wants the responsibility. Not everybody wants, the ups and downs of it. And for a while, I was like, why the fuck not? Kind of like that meme with Meryl Streep from Devil Wears Prada, where it's crying. It's
God,
like,
yeah.
Doesn't everybody want to be us? As I'm crying, stickering my cuffs for the opening day while trying to figure out what am I going to do.
You're on number 10 and there's 10,000.
Yeah. And I'm like, why doesn't everybody want to do this? But, it's interesting because I've then learned it's really important that not everybody wants this.
Yeah.
And it's really important to find the other people that don't want it, but want to be part of something bigger and bringing them on, but bringing them on in a way that makes them feel part of it. Morgan, I think, truly embodies Morning Mugs like it's her own, which makes me so happy because that's the only way this works.
It's rare. It's rare. She's your brand in so many ways. I'll tell you a secret. I know somebody who's worked intimately with multiple Chick-fil-A franchises inside, helping with the employee development. And they have an entire coaching program that exists within the organization that is from a third party.
Wow.
So they're not even a Chick-fil-A brand that comes in and does this because they believe that there is an understanding that this is merely a chapter in their book, but the owner, it's the whole book. It's how I ran Chick-fil-A during my life. But for them, it could be a page or a chapter of their story in between school and pre-college, post-college, whatever, right? And that journey, both of you are having it. You're having that journey as an owner, expanding, contracting, hiring, getting lucky to get Morgan in your life with whatever spiritual journey you thought. Pray to that spiritual. It sounds like she was a badass. And then you've got this employee who goes, hey, I'm here for a year or two at home right now. Love to do your thing, but I'm going to leave in 2 years. I heard something from Brian Billick one time, and I just shared with another guest that somebody interviewed him one time, and not Brian Billick, Steve Bisciotti from the Ravens. And he's like, hey, it just sucks sometimes that some of these really marquee players end up leaving. Doesn't that hurt you sometimes because you brought them in from undrafted, unrestricted free agents to like glory, like career people. And he's like, look, we represent an organization. And if that person was here and we help them develop, we stamp a part of their life as a part of that journey. And when they leave, we're proud of them. And that Hall of Fame person will have us in their resume.
Right.
If every business owner thought like that, we'd have a different world. And I'm not shaming someone that doesn't, but the way you're describing your relationship with your employees, bro, that's not normal.
Oh,
and it's a shame.
It's
not.
I'll be honest, transparently, that's been the hardest thing for me. It's been
hard as in uncomfortable, unfamiliar.
No, the loneliness. You say it's unfamiliar.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Yeah.
I haven't. My first 3 years of owning Morning Mugs, I had another job. I worked in tech sales, and that's what kept me afloat. So I didn't spend the time meeting other entrepreneurs or diving into all that. I was just running a business, making money. Earlier this year, I got laid off, totally understandably. They say laid off. I got fucking fired, dude.
That's great.
I decided to go to another job where, they promised this and that, and I moved to San Diego, and, whether you keep this or not, but what the story is going to allude to is there was no passion behind what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, no, I didn't want to stay on the clock for longer than I had to. I was working what I call West Coast mornings and East Coast afternoons.
Oh, that's a cool phrase.
Listen, why not?
You're dropping some one-liners today, man.
I'm on at 9 a.m. like I'm supposed to, and the East Coasters are off at 2. Maybe I'll go hit the beach.
Yeah.
And I'm not condoning that. It's almost, the way I relate it.
You were also single, didn't have children.
No, right. And I had
Ideal.
Morning Mugs that I was still running from afar. But, eventually they come knocking saying, hey, you're not doing your job. Like, you're a salesperson and you're not making sales.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. And they were more visibly upset than I was because I knew it wasn't what I was passionate about. And this is not for everybody. I did have a fallback plan that I think all of this happened for a reason. Would I have loved to stay out in San Diego? It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
But something was pulling me back. And it wasn't just anything. It was something beautiful and awesome and a part of me that within a month of being back, I was able to connect with other local people in the community, find a second location, and ramp it up and build it. I just took it as a sign. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Let me just dive head first. Why half-ass it? It might have been McConaughey that mentioned, his dad talked about, if you're going to do it, do it. If you're going to half-ass it, just don't do it at all.
Yep.
And so kind of taking that on where I wasn't half-assing it. I just wasn't dedicating my life to
You were
it.
divided.
I was divided.
Yeah.
Because it was easier. And I would also recommend to some aspiring entrepreneurs, sometimes don't quit your day job. Find a way to make it work. And
Scale.
People think it's harder than it is. You do have to work hard. So, sorry, it's not just going to be easy.
Guess what? Page 1, you will have to work hard.
Right, exactly. Like, then
if you're okay with that, turn to page 2.
Exactly.
If you're not, close the book and sell it.
And reading was big for me. I wish I read more, honestly. Now now it's like my brain's active all day, where I kind of just want to lay in bed and just fucking do this for an hour and then pass out.
Yeah.
But reading was instrumental in the fact that I realized that the templates are there. The people you want to be like have written the book.
Yeah.
Just because you read the book doesn't mean shit. But they've laid out for you exactly what you need to do to have a better chance at creating the life that they've created.
Yeah.
You just have to do it. Which, at the end of the day, thank you, Nike.
I'm literally hitting my head. I'm like Nike.
Just do it.
Yeah. But there's so much to that.
There is so much to it. But at the mindset about it is step 1, right? It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Understanding that in your mind. Now let's move on to the next thing. And it's all possible. And I also bring up sacrifice. Everyone talks about sacrifice like it's bad. In all of my time of owning a business, the sacrifices that I've had to do have not been like detrimental. I mean, maybe, the billionaires out there are missing their friends' weddings and stuff, but like,
maybe
you dictate your amount of sacrifice. Yeah. Am I staying up till midnight when I know a coffee shop has to be open at 6:30 tomorrow morning? No, but like that wasn't a big sacrifice to me. Well, somebody else might.
It is for some people,
right? Or for you in this podcast, like your work is done, and you have your kids. Someone has to edit this.
Yeah. Someone
has to go through, and yeah, it's work. But if you love it, let's go back to that purpose. Let's full circle.
The why.
The why.
You had me at why, Tyler.
It makes it so much easier. And something I would tell your listeners and even you is Simon Sinek has a video called The Golden Circle of Why.
Yeah, he's pretty great. He's full of one-liners, but other than that, he's got a lot of really cool ideas that he really goes deep into.
And this specific video talks about, looking at the greatest businesses in the world, but not just the greatest businesses, even alludes to like Martin Luther King.
Greatest minds.
Just what was their purpose? What was their why? I mean, I have a dream could go down in history as one of the top 10 one-liners ever because I have a dream. 4 words told such a story.
Yeah, the impact of those 4 words.
And that's what matters. And so now how do you apply that to your own life? Well, what are those 4 words for you that are really important? Mine is like making somebody's day. Mine's 3. Okay, well then whatever I do needs to be a part of that. And more of the forks in the roads that I come to, I need to choose the direction that leads towards the making somebody's day more because that's going to fulfill me. So that's kind of the early stages of Morning Mugs, how we got here. I mean, it also is just the idea of just having fun.
All right, so I've got a really important question to ask you, but I've got a kind of a topical question first before we get there. So Morning Mugs, right? You've got a pretty cool last name, and it's unique. That would have been just a layup to do a DellaRatta's something. Yeah. Where'd the Morning Mugs come from? I mean, obviously, I know that's an important part of your business, but why that name?
Yeah, so Morning Mugs, it has kind of a Slumdog Millionaire storyline to it.
Okay. All right. Give me the Cliff Notes.
I'll try and condense it. The biggest thing is I graduated from college with a marketing degree, and my options were move to New York City and make $30,000 to live on nothing, or try and get a job in Baltimore in marketing, which really doesn't exist at that low of a level. And I thought, why the heck do I want to do marketing for Joe Schmo's lawn care?
Yeah.
I want to do marketing for my business. Like, I think when people go into marketing, they're like, oh, Nike. And all right, you got to work up to that. So for years, I said, I'm going to do marketing for my business. Didn't know what it was, but I just said it, almost like a manifestation. But I got a job in construction.
That's sick.
Hated it. Construction is not my forte.
Yeah.
Details. But there were 5 mugs in the cabinet that were black on the outside with a different color on the inside. And I don't know, I just started guessing what color my mug was going to be every morning.
Yeah.
And it was a dumb, stupid color guessing game. But the days I got it right, for some reason, the Excel spreadsheets just looked like more fun. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But, so all of a sudden now I'm putting the Tyler twist on it. I'm Snapchatting it to like my group chat buddies, Snapchat buddies, and just like, oh, today it's going to be blue, red, whatever.
Yeah.
People loved it. My 30 friends will say, we're like, dude, you got to make this an Instagram. And I'm like, I'm not fucking making this an Instagram. What do you mean? Like, make me flipping mugs on Instagram? Yeah. Okay. Well, March 13th, my birthday of it. I don't even know what year now. That's crazy to think about. 2018, maybe. I made an Instagram, and I was like going to call it mugs or something, but the only thing available was morning mugs, because every morning, Monday through Friday.
You made an account?
The account. I made an Instagram account.
So you looked at the names.
Yeah,
checking for dupe names.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Which ones are going to be available and whatnot.
Got it.
Mugs was taken, so okay. Yep. Well, I do this every morning, Monday through Friday. So morning mugs, perfect. And it just started out as an opportunity. Maybe it wasn't the coffee, but an opportunity to be in everybody's day, Monday through Friday. Everybody got to guess, and then I put a little more twist on it.
Lighthearted,
questions of the day. Positivity
Sure.
and motivation. I just like, again, how can I put a smile on somebody's face? And it always ended with something like, have a great day, or even if you got it wrong, it's still a great day. Just something.
And that kind of stuff matters, though, dude.
It ended up getting 250 followers, which, listen, that in the grand scheme of social media, no one's batting an eye at 250. But for a guy that's flipping over a mug Monday through Friday,
it's not it's not your family joining you and your neighbors.
No.
This is people that want to see what you've got coming next.
And people would be like, "Hey, where's the mug?" On a day where like I actually had to be at work or like do something, I'd be like, "Oh shit, I actually gotta
like calling you out.
Yeah,
hey, where's the mug?
I have to go do this." It became almost a production part of my day, and soon people in the office found out about it, and it was like this ha thing. Anyway, I finally get out of construction, because again I hated it, and sales
part of your journey,
the passion, right? But I wasn't going to be the mug guy.
Yeah.
So morning mugs simmered. I wouldn't say died, because then a month into starting my shelf is great. Put the mug on the shelf, exactly. Yep. A month into that new job, COVID happens.
Oh, yeah, so, BC.
I'm all excited, but
boom.
Now we're stuck at home. Well, what better thing to do than flip over some mugs? So I had my own home stash at this point of the same exact mugs, and I started doing it
carefully selected pieces.
Right. In my drawer, my roommates were not allowed to touch these mugs. And I started to do it here and there, but really it all, came to a point when, I walked into a building where my barber was at the time, and he was telling me there was this coffee shop that closed down. And again, for 4 years, I said I want to do marketing for my own business, but I didn't label that business. I didn't know what it was going to be, but
it's a cool idea.
And in the moment, I thought...
on your shoulder, just kind of sitting there, and then...
Yeah. And then I was like, I used to flip over coffee mugs. Sure, I could figure out the rest. Because that's all it takes. Figure out the rest.
Dude. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
So that was kind of when I decided, okay, so let's figure out this coffee thing. COVID was a sad time for a lot of people.
Yeah, it was.
But there's also a time of opportunity. You look at some of the pivotal points in human history, 2008 being another one. Through the Rubble, Rise.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of great
innovation
businesses.
is the unintended byproduct of what happened to everybody.
Exactly. And for me, it was a COVID deal on a business where they just needed somebody there to run it. So it was, but again, it was COVID. So I'm opening up a restaurant.
During a time when people couldn't go or were scared to go.
And we were shut down. There were no sitting inside.
Yeah.
The amount of people that, you're an idiot, dude. You're an idiot. My parents literally saying, no, you're not. And me saying, I'm not asking you guys for money. I'm just going to do this.
Wasn't a question.
Yeah, if I was asking for money, sure.
Yeah.
But I thank you for giving me the life that I have and, setting me up. I saved my money at that first job. I lived at home and did all that. Still paid rent. My parents made me pay rent at home, which...
good for them.
It was. Somehow my sister got out of it, though. Anyway.
Oh, that's messed up. The second kid, and it gets worse when you have multiples. Man.
Oh, it starts getting less and less, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But so the amount of no's that you got, but when you feel it, and those are the people that break through. You can't listen to the outside world and the outside voices. It's always going to be there, and it's their judgment of your situation and how they would act in it. And
Even out of love.
Even out of love.
A lot of those no's came from love. I had a moment in 08 where I was working, on late 09. My son was born in 09. And I worked at Outback up in Bel Air. And great company, by the way. And I've been there for a year and a half. I started working there because the mortgage business got a little crazy.
Sure, yeah.
And I started moving up, became a bartender, had a great time, meeting a lot of people. And then the opportunity came for me to become into management. And it was this weirdest thing because they invited me to this conversation. It wasn't an interview. It was a conversation about what's available, what it looks like, vying for me, saying there's a really big opportunity here for you if you'd like it. And I went home, and it's like someone punched me in the gut because that's just not my industry. Yeah. I didn't have any passion for that. It was a gateway to get through the economic crisis. And
doing what you had to do.
In that moment, I realized that it wasn't my thing. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the moment where I either go all in on what I've started my career at, or I don't. And it could have broke me, but it didn't, man. It didn't. It was the start of my career where it really was boom, it took off.
Yeah.
And it was still in a crazy crisis. So I can relate a lot to that, man, where people in my family were trying to help me out and be like, Joe, it's time. It's time for you to switch careers. Even my mom, like, sweetheart, this is an amazing opportunity. It's solid, like, it's career, trajectory, like safe is the word. And I'm a mama's boy, so my mom loved me, man. It was because she wanted to give me that support and safety.
Yep.
And I rejected it like it was a vampire. And I'm like, no, I can't have that. It's not in my blood.
Yeah. Exactly.
That moment, dude, not a lot of people experience that. And I don't even wish it on anybody, but I can relate, bro. It's a big deal.
I think almost every entrepreneur can, because every idea is crazy.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with people that live that quintessential normal life, which again, sometimes
it's all good.
Sometimes I wish I could go back. You know what I mean?
Our brains just aren't wired like that now.
There's like one day where I'm like, man, a 9 to 5 where someone's telling me what to do. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, it's 9:30 and I'm still in bed. All right, let me get my day started.
9 to 5 is not bad. It's 9:30. Go.
Yeah, but
shit, missed that opportunity.
Yeah, I think it starts with that mindset. It's that was the turning point, sure. But
hell yeah.
Before that point, you had already decided years before that you were destined for something bigger.
Yep.
And you accepted kind of that shield as, okay, well, when the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I'm big into journaling. And I have
really?
a journal. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. My best piece of advice is the 5-minute journal. It's on Amazon. It's like $20.
Wow, that's cool.
3 questions in the
morning. We should get a sponsorship for that. Couple bucks coming in.
Yeah, right. Put it on the follow the link to go to Joe's
5-minute journal
Amazon page and buy it through there. But it's great because it's 3 questions in the morning, 2 questions in the night.
Nice.
And it's simple. It's simple. That's my thing. If it's, asking someone to journal, it better be simple.
Yeah.
But it's, one of the questions is your affirmation, and one of my big ones is, I am open to opportunity. People live their entire life with opportunity being thrown in their face. And sometimes they're just blind to it because they've already decided in their brain that I'm not open to the abnormal or to the different or
unsafe.
That thing, the unsafe. And
God bless them. Nothing wrong with them. Exactly. It's not a character flaw.
No, exactly.
You either have it or you don't, and it's okay if you don't.
Like I said, I graduated and I said, I'm going to do marketing for my own business. I had decided in that moment. First time when somebody was like, oh, what are you doing? You graduate college and everybody's getting a job.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
And I was 4 months unemployed.
Or New York.
Yeah. 4 months unemployed right out of college.
Yeah.
Kind of a scary place.
Unfortunately common.
Sure.
But
you see your friends getting a job and
Yeah, one by one.
You got a marketing degree. Why aren't you? It's boom. I'm going to do marketing for my own business one day. People were like,
that's sick, man.
Okay. And I was like, I believed it. So it's, I think, a slow build that you have over time. But then the precipice is, here's the opportunity. Take it or leave it.
Because you were open.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
How many people did my barber tell the coffee shop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was no different. I'm not the only one that walked in there that day.
Mm-hmm.
You probably told everybody about it. And how many people said, yeah, it's a good idea, I'm going to do it. Still didn't do it, though.
Yeah, I have a faith background, and for me, my interpretation of that is a bit destiny-like.
Yeah.
It was kind of meant to be. And with all due respect to everybody's spiritual journey, for me, that those kind of things are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But the free will we have can have us hear the opportunity knock, cliche-wise,
Yeah.
or not hear it. And those moments still come in there. And it's cool to look back now and see how you could have easily been like, I gotta get out of here, man. You know, but you were like, oh, man, I don't know. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
really?
And, you know, my version is like, I'm more of the universal type. So, you know, that's just my belief. Yes.
Yeah.
But a quick anecdotal story, you know, I started this journey, you know, he told me about it. And a week later I hit up the landlord. I was like, hey, I want to do this. And later that next month I was on a snowboarding trip with my buddies. And we were on our way back. We're sitting in Denver airport. Just me and one other. The other guys were at the bar just grabbing some beers. But I just like, I'm done with this trip. I'm ready to go home and get back to building this, you know, coffee shop.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden people are walking by. You know, we're at one of the just high tops.
Yeah.
And I look up and I make this eye contact with this woman. And it was like a weird eye contact. You know, almost like, not almost. I got a chill, like something like shot through me. She walked by, whatever. Not a minute later, I see her coming up to me on the corner of her eye. It's a little bit longer of a story, so I apologize.
Yeah, dude.
She comes up, and it's me and this other kid who's a friend of mine. So Keith Huber, another kid I went to school with. It's one of his friends from school. So we're not super close. She starts coming up, and she's like, hey, I am really sorry, and this might sound weird, but I just got this feeling that I had to come over here. And,
shut up.
Oh, no, she goes, is somebody starting a business? Like, now
dude, for real?
I'm
bro, what?
Oh.
I got like goosebumps. But wait, there's more.
He next to me is like, no way. He's opening a business. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's going to be a coffee shop. She's like, I know this sounds crazy, but sometimes Jesus talks to me. Now, luckily, my sister had, you know, been talking to me about her version of faith, which was
her journey kind of thing,
the universe. And when I heard Jesus, I didn't hear religion.
Yeah.
I heard connection to something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank God I did, because I think so many people would hear that and be like,
turn off.
Jesus, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't about that. It was about there being something bigger at play here.
Her sincerity in that moment, too.
Exactly. And so she ends up saying, hey, listen, like, I just wanted to come over. You know, do you mind if I pray for you? And in my head, I'm like, I think she's going to go home and pray for me. She's like, no. She lowered her head and prayed for me.
Right there in the airport.
Right there for me. She's like, you can just pretend like we're talking, whatever. And then she was like, by the way. So at that moment, I'm like, okay, this is like still a little weird, but like cool and like, wow, awesome.
Peaceful, but weird.
And also in that prayer, she's like, he says you're on the right path. And he says these things for a kid that's starting his own business.
Wild, bro.
Just wait.
Oh, shut up. Okay.
So she says at one point, she pauses, she said, sometimes I like to ask if there's anything else. And she goes, he says you need to get better at receiving. I'm hearing all this other stuff, and I'm like, okay, whatever, like receiving, sure, whatever. Because in that same moment, or it might have been actually before that, so I apologize. I'm going to chop up the story a little bit.
I'm still
She tells me, I just left my job at Instagram. Who's doing your marketing? I have some pointers for them. I'm like, oh, I actually went to Towson for marketing. I'm doing it. She's like, well, do you want some tips? I'm like, I will take anything you're going to give me. She tells me things like primary colors are more attractive, having eyes in your posts, but never more than 3. Things that you don't find on the internet. Like, this is insider info, if you will. So she says that.
Algorithm type stuff.
Exactly. So now more than anything, that Tyler needs to
write that down. Yeah,
Tyler needs to get better at receiving. That's not even crossing my mind. There's a reason I'm bringing this up, though. She goes on her way, Christy. You know, she doesn't live in Denver. This is a stopover for
total
her.
pass by situation.
So she goes. We're like, holy shit. I'm like, I got to call my mom. I got to call my sister. Like literally the craziest thing in my life has just happened. I come back. Now all the boys are there. Try telling the boys something like this happened. They're like, yeah, okay, dude,
That's
sure.
fair game.
Yeah.
Oh, your friend saw Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling them this version of the story, and all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see Christy, same woman. She comes back over, and I see she has something in her hand. And I think, gosh darn it, this is where she goes. If you want to follow Jesus and you want to, and it really would
mission type situation.
It would have ruined everything because it wasn't about that, but instead it was $100 bill. And I said what any person who grew up in my household would say, which is, "See, I can't accept this." She said, "I had the number one thing I forgot. Remember what I told you. You have to get better at receiving."
Oh.
I carry that $100 bill with me in my phone case ever since. It's been, what, now 4 or 5 years? That, I tell that story because when the opportunity presents itself, I joked about that Slumdog Millionaire kind of story.
Yeah.
It does happen like that. That serendipity, it feels right. And it helps push you along the way. Whatever you believe in is backing you. And even if that's yourself. But, for me, my highest thing I look up to is my highest self, the best version of me who's going to push me along the way. And for, all these steps along the way, we're just showing that you're on the right path. Keep going. But it starts by looking at opportunity in the face and taking it. And then everything else after that, you can't predict. But boy, when it hits, it's just real.
That's crazy, man. I mean, I don't think that. How do I want to word this?
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody could hear that and not feel some sort of connection with the way you describe that. And you're right. It's not even about Jesus or her obvious Christianity or whatever version of she said. It's not even about that.
Oh.
It's about the universe providing that moment. And I've gotten pretty comfortable saying that too, because it doesn't really cross anybody's comfort zones.
Exactly.
The universe opened that door, bro. And it sounds like that really changed something inside of you, like a gear that was stuck almost broke free and started to click, because you're using terms like affirmation, highest self. These are things that are a huge part of the coaching community. And I never even told you that I have a coaching business on the side.
There you go.
These are things that it took me 3 years of twice a month to just affirm to myself certain things, not because of disbeliefs in myself, but saying it is believing it. And if you can't say it, how do you expect someone else to? But you're using all these terms. Did you have any coaching background? Did you ever take a business coach or a personal coach, life coach?
Later, I ended up doing it. But in those moments, it was, I on a much more transparent level, I come from a household of an alcoholic.
Okay.
And so I had to learn what I grew up seeing and what I grew up being a part of was not how I wanted my life to play out, which means something needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
And change only happens when you decide. You can't force anybody else to change. They have to decide. So I decided I need to be different. And through that acceptance of I need to change came my openness to hearing things like manifestation, affirmation, and taking those things on. Again, I talked about the playbook's been told for us, seeing them as not just words people are saying, but actually ways to live. I bring up the 5-minute journal because without it, I don't get here.
Yeah.
I don't own my own business without saying for 4 years, and you don't know however long it's going to be, but for 4 years I said, I'm going to own my own business one day. Because then the opportunity shows itself and it connects. But who knows what opportunities I've missed that weren't for me because I wasn't thinking about that.
Like you said, I mean, in the barbershop business, it is very common for a barber who has all these patients coming in. Oh, I said patients, all these clients coming out to kind of talk about the same thing.
Right.
I can almost tell you with 100% certainty that individual brought that up to at least 10 other people. And it was like, well, that's a shame for that business. How about those O's? Right? But for whatever reason, the way that the universe was acting that day, it gave you that moment and you took it, man. It's just a huge thing, dude.
I say my barber, really, I forget where I was living at the time, but I got invited to my friend's sister's wedding, and I just needed a haircut from a random person. I was living in D.C. So I needed to be in Maryland to get in the car with my buddy to go to my friend's sister's wedding. This was the first time I went to him as a barber.
I mean,
so even more.
Dude,
I say my barber because it makes the story simpler, but you want to talk about just like randomness.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it starts with the manifestation, the willingness to see these opportunities. You bring up coaching. I ended up doing coaching later in my life, which helped me get over a different hump.
Okay.
But I see value in it. I'm a big fan of therapy. I think, two sides of a similar coin, maybe not the same.
Therapy is archaeology.
Yes.
Digging up.
Yep.
Coaching is architecture. You build.
I love that because I always said therapy is from today back and this forward.
Yep.
But I love
got that from my coach. I had to make
an analogy guy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Huge metaphor analogy.
And it was what I needed at the time, and I've learned that sometimes it's too much of a good thing. So not to I think coaching is something that can come and go. Same way therapy can.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, it's all about the work you put in. That's all that matters.
They can only do so much.
Yeah. You can't make it.
You got to be open to it, right?
So it all starts with that mindset. So you talk about like that pivotal moment. I think that really started at a younger age when I just decided that, first of all, this is not the life that I want to live. Now, I bring up my household. My parents still provide for me and provided. So it's not like I'm, handcuffed behind my back with, no. But it doesn't change the fact that psychologically that there are things that need to change and things that are ingrained in me that I wanted to change. And that was the starting point of being open to what the universe and what I have to offer, kind of in this mutual relationship. And then now you talk about that opportunity slapping you in the face. I mean, let's ride, baby.
I mean, I want to give you some credit because there are millions of people, and I'm saying it because I have not counted them, okay? But there are tens of millions of people who have had a life experience and it haunts them. And there's nothing that I think anybody can do to stop that from happening in the world. But what ends up happening is the fire will burn people or it will galvanize people.
Yeah.
And it is, nobody knows the way you're going to be. Marine buddy of mine, he's an older teak. He said, everybody wants to be a soldier till the bullets are flying.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you think you can handle something until you're in it, right? So I had a really tough situation that I grew up with. And in my coaching journey, the single greatest thing that came out of it was that until I could look back and say that those things were meant to happen in my life because that's who I am, I didn't control it or choose it. These are not things that I could have chosen. They happen. But they formed who I am. They are puzzle pieces in my picture. And if they weren't puzzle pieces, I'd have a different picture. And to come to that realization, there's some forgiveness that comes out of that.
Sure.
Not directly. I haven't never told the person I forgive them, but I do.
Yeah.
And not that you need to or that I'm implying you need to, but those things create our puzzle, metaphor, that's our picture, right? But you did something different, though, that a lot of Americans don't do. And that you took control of your puzzle and you started to reshape and repaint once the pieces were in place. And that makes you different. So I started off this portion by saying, I got to give you credit, man, because I'm a firm believer that everybody's one of one. That's my 15 and 14-year-old boy. You're him. That's a new deal, right? You're him, right? And I'm all about that. But for real, though, like your journey, man, is so special because you're special. If you hadn't been open because of your life experiences, or you hadn't, we talked about these things, right? If this might never have happened, but it did, bro. It did, because the universe gave you an upbringing that made you who you are. Exactly. And in that moment where you stopped at that barber in that moment and got a haircut at that time, and that barber said the same thing to you, he said 10 other times, but for you, the gear went click, 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 click.
On.
Dude, what a cool story.
Yeah. Alongside that is I tell my parents all the time, like, I'm not mad about my upbringing. I'm grateful for it. And they're like, what are you saying? Like, it wasn't great. They think it was horrible. And listen, it wasn't sugar-coated, but I wouldn't be who I am. And I love who I am.
Yeah.
I love the journey I'm on. I joke.
I can tell.
That, every year I get older is another great year. And everybody else that gets older, they're like, oh, I'm getting older.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't wait. My birthday's next month, like 2-3 weeks. I can't wait to be 30. 30.
Okay, so the most important part of today is that we learned about you and your story. But I do want to share with the audience about Morning Mugs.
Sure.
So I'm at your location, first or second, and I walk in the door. Tell me immediately, because I have, at this point in my hypothetical coffee experience, been somewhere else too.
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
When I walk in, tell me what's different about Morning Mugs. Not better, just different.
Yeah, different is you're going to look around and you're going to get this feeling of like, this is a fun place to be.
Fun.
There's colors on the walls. It's a brighter space, and you're going to be greeted by somebody telling you, welcome to Morning Mugs, which really all we're doing is inviting you in as one of our guests.
Yeah.
That's been a really big change in recent years of we don't have customers. We have guests, which means we want to treat them with the utmost respect, and we want to deliver them the same experience we would want to deliver if they were coming to our house. So that's the first thing you're going to get. Then you're going to come
Give me
up.
chills all day, bro.
This is what I enjoy doing. I love telling this story.
It's very obvious how much you enjoy that.
So you're going to walk up, and then you're going to see a board. You're going to see the normal coffee drinks, but then to the side, you're going to see our specials.
Okay.
People have grown to love our specials because it's just a twist on the fun things that we have to offer. We have something called, I'm trying to think, the dreidel drip, this for the winter. And
nice.
Then we have your hug your honey for the Valentine's Day. And it's funny, quirky names, kind of like the World Wide Web, that just people...
Funny and quirky.
Funny and quirky, and people love it, especially when you can tie it together with coffee.
I
mean, this thing that's normal and every day, let's spice it up a little bit. So then you're going to look through and you're going to ask your questions, and then you're going to make your order. And after you order, you're going to be prompted by the cashier or the barista on what color you want to guess, because each cup has a different colored sleeve. Red, blue, green, orange, and purple, just like I did at my first job in guessing the color. And the first time you walk in, you're going to say, what the? I want brown. I want brown coffee.
I want my coffee to not be
yeah, I want
coffee colored.
I want a coffee color, please. And then we're going to say, very funny, but one of these 5 colors, if you get it right, you get 10% off your next drink. So there's nothing on the line to lose.
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
Just something to win. And more than anything, which ends up happening as the regulars become regulars, is they don't care about the 10%. They just care about that game. And that game became a happy accident. Again, this was at my first job. I had it. And so you explained the different experience. Coffee is coffee. Now, I do believe that we have some of the best coffee, but your taste buds are different.
Like you said, the product has to be good.
Product has to be good.
It's experience.
But you're not going to get that experience anywhere else. Granted, I don't know anybody else other than kindergarten where they're asking you to guess colors, but it works for us.
How does the guest guess the color?
So then they're going to guess, and then we're going to kind of, Vanna White it, boom. And, this all leads from, it's funny because what's your dream job? Everyone says, what's your dream job?
Yeah.
Astronaut, pilot. I want to be a game show host. I want to be Drew Carey on the
Set it high, bro.
Dude,
yeah, Drew Carey.
3 days a week
Hell
work, and it's just like the Price is Right, where literally
come on down
is to just make people happy, put smiles on people's faces.
Yeah.
That is my dream, and I have that. They always talk about don't forget where you are. Everyone's always looking at stoicism. Wow, feel where your feet are.
Yeah.
Damn, I do have a game show. Literally a game show at a coffee shop that everyone plays.
It's a game.
Day. That's all it is. So that's the experience you're going to get. Yeah, you have to take a second every now and then and
it's so cool.
4 years ago, where did I want to be? Holy shit, I have it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean stop looking forward, but I have it. So getting back to your question about what you're going to experience, you're going to experience fun, bright, and smiles. That never said it like
That's
that.
all though.
But that yeah, right, right. Well, I tell people, my classic tagline is we don't sell coffee.
Mm-hmm.
We sell a good time, but you get a damn good cup of coffee with it. And
tell me that's written down somewhere.
It's written in my head, but it really should.
Trademark, copyrighted. You can't have that. It's his.
Exactly.
You cannot have that.
We sell a good time. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's what. If you want a good time, come to Morning Mugs. You'll get a great cup of coffee, some awesome pastries, but more than anything, you're going to leave with a smile.
Dude.
And that's our number one priority. So then you're going to get your drink. You're going to taste it. Now, first, you're going to see it. Your mouth's going to water because it looks so good.
Yes.
And then you're going to see the color on the sleeve that you got right. And even if you got it wrong, you're like, oh, next time.
I'll get it next time.
Next time I'll get it. So you still have that smile. And then you take that sip, you enjoy the rest of your day because you started it at Morning Mugs, or you at some point were there to experience what we have to offer.
So you've got 2 locations.
Yes.
You mentioned the second one when you came back. What's next for Morning Mugs?
Yeah. Growth and expansion.
What's that mean to you when you say that?
Yeah, I want to start to expand to other neighborhoods.
Okay.
I want to give this experience.
Where are your first 2
more
locations
people.
right now?
First 2 locations. First one's in Federal Hill, which I don't know when this video is going to come out, but February 22nd.
Won't come out that quick because that's this weekend.
Yeah, right. Well, this weekend,
Yeah.
whenever this
February
video,
18th right now.
we're going to be celebrating 4 years at Federal Hill.
Dude, congratulations,
Thank you.
man.
Yeah.
4 years.
I mean, again, this was an
God.
idea, not anything more
Yeah.
than that. And holy shit, it worked. And then Locust Point. So
Awesome.
within Baltimore.
That's a great
just
location.
Exactly. I really like this idea of being a neighborhood coffee shop.
Okay.
You have the Starbucks everywhere. You can't not call it out.
Yeah.
They are everywhere. So they're not really competition. They're everywhere. So it doesn't matter. So
Very McDonald's-ish.
Exactly.
They're probably never going to go away. And I don't want them to. It's an American institution. They're never going away, but it doesn't mean you can't sell burgers.
Exactly. And I also ended up watching or listening to a podcast with, what's his name? It always eludes me, but the starter, the founder of Starbucks.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, yep. I can't pull his name up now.
It's really awesome what they built. It's hard, even
Inspiring.
being in the same industry. It's more inspiring than
He's got a rags to riches story.
But I want to be that neighborhood coffee shop. I think a brand that's done a really good job of this is Rise Up. If you're in the Maryland area and listening, they started on the Eastern Shore area,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody claims their Rise Up is theirs. We're going to Rise Up, yeah, the one in this town, and that's theirs. They've just done a really good job of that. And so I saw that as an opportunity for Morning Mugs. It's not Morning Mugs 1 and Morning Mugs 2. Internally, it is. It's just easier, but it's Morning Mugs
Sure,
Hill
logistically.
and Morning Mugs Locust Point.
Okay.
I want to look at Morning Mugs Canton, Morning Mugs Towson, Morning Mugs, because I think by doing that, you're building the community, which at the end of the day, this story, this enjoyment, and this game don't work without the community.
Amen, brother.
I mean, we've won best coffee in Baltimore for the last 3 years. Now, we do have great coffee, but it's voted on by the readers of the magazine.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't happen without the backing of the community. So, I tend to get emotional at the idea because our success is driven by that. I can put a game in anything and try and have fun, but it doesn't matter if no one shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of combination of finding places where a neighborhood is in need of a place like Morning Mugs, that's what I'm looking for as I continue to grow. Right now we're looking in Canton because I think that's just like
That's a
the
natural
next piece. Yeah.
It's connected close enough where there's familiarity, but not close enough to overlap.
Exactly. And
Smart.
then as of recently, I've actually been talking with Towson University.
How much of a moment would that be if that ends up shaking down? It's going to take a while, I'm sure, to go back to campus, university, holy guacamole, bro. That's kind of surreal itself, right?
I try to tell myself it's just part of the Slumdog Millionaire story.
Yeah.
I joke about it, but maybe that's the path the whole time.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just that next thing, because it does feel so surreal. It's like, wait, what? I graduated from this place and I was kind of like, damn, I don't really feel uplifted to do anything.
Yeah.
Just naturally, that's, you're graduated and blah, 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 and I'm better than this. And then years pass, and then you're like, that was a pretty awesome time. That was a pretty awesome place. And I look around at all my friends, and they all came from there. And my business, which Taylor Caprera, another teak of ours, his parents opened a coffee shop a year before me. They were instrumental in helping me open by just giving me advice and things like that. So, thank you, Towson. There's a book I think it's called 1,000 Things. And it actually starts with a coffee, but it's about looking at that thing that you have and seeing how far back you can say thank you. And, so I look at,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I look at Morning Mugs, and then I say, wow, okay, well, thank you, Capreras. Well, to say thank you to the Capreras, I have to say thank you to TCAP. Then I have to say thank you to Towson. Then I have to say thank you to Teak. And how far can I go? And in this moment, it's all an expression of gratitude. So I think through all of these things,
Awesome.
it's built up to here. What's next for us? Continuing to expand, grow into new neighborhoods where we have the opportunity to share this experience with more people.
I mean, I love that 95% of our conversations don't involve the C word, even though that's your primary product, coffee.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
I didn't
crazy.
Even know what you meant.
I said to a coffee shop owner the C word, and he didn't know it was coffee.
Yeah.
That's just so special, brother.
Yeah.
That's so special. All right, a couple of things that I do for everybody. I just want to kind of enjoy some games. Number one, on a serious side, I ask a lot of people, who's a good customer for you?
Yeah.
I feel like that might be more of an open thing, but what comes to mind when I say who's a good customer for you?
Yeah, I think we alluded to it. A good customer for me is somebody that's looking for a little bit of joy in life. Even something as simple as guessing a color. You have no idea the smiles. I mean, I got people coming in saying, I dreamed it was purple. So if you're just looking for a little bit
Like a
more
lottery.
excitement, a little bit more excitement in your life, and some excitement in the monotony of things, grabbing a coffee in the morning, we're the place for you.
And you just may get a good cup of coffee out of it.
I mean, you're definitely going to get
Oh, there it is.
You're definitely getting good coffee.
There it is.
But yeah, exactly.
Are there any businesses that you want to connect with that kind of like help you on your journey or that might benefit from knowing your story?
Yeah, I think I always am just open. I'm a big yes man when it comes to
That's a
businesses.
theme today.
Yeah, well, there you go. Because it's what it's all about, those opportunities. We actually, a brewery in Baltimore, right around the corner from us, they tried all the coffee in Baltimore. They said we had the best cold brew. So they picked us. And they said, are you interested in being the coffee provider for our coffee stout?
Infusion?
Yeah. And I was like, hell yeah, I am. They're like,
it reminds me of that Ghostbusters line where it's like, if they ask if you're a god, you say yes.
Yeah.
If someone says, can I use your product in my stout?
Yeah.
You say yes.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, is it fun? Is this going to be fun? Then I'm all in.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. I tell everybody, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. So
there used to be a phrase around Teak about it's all about fun.
Okay, it's funny how that's continuing to trickle into everything.
My man Foti.
So
that's
it's
awesome.
It's who do I want to work with? I want to work with people that want to have fun. I
Okay.
want to work with hardworking people that want to reap as much fun out of life as we can. And if I can provide something for that, let's do it. Something else I'm looking to do is a summer block party, a kickoff summer block party. But I want to focus on more of the health side of things. We're a coffee shop. I'm not trying to promote people drinking at 10 a.m. unless it's for Ravens football.
Yeah.
But, how can we still encourage this enjoyment for summer and fun and everything, but have a little bit of a twist with it? So I'm looking right now for other companies that fit that mold, just to be a part of this thing that's bigger than us. So that's probably my best answer for who I want to work with.
It's a shame your demographic isn't big enough. People that want to have fun.
No.
So I could probably give a couple answers, but that's not how this works. Bro, what is your superpower? Like, I'm a Marvel nerd. I got 3 boys, and we nerd out all the time. We're in our 3rd or 4th episode of the entire Marvel story now, and just as fun as the first. And not every character had their origin story yet, but I got a feeling you did. What is your superpower, brother?
So I would say that my superpower is, it has to be something when it comes to like the emotions, because at every step of this way, we talked about manifestation, and openness, and all that leads from a willingness to be open, which I see more on the empathetic side of things.
Sure.
So, and plus, damn, I'm talking about a coffee shop that makes sure that you have a good time and a fun time. So I think that my superpower is understanding people's emotional needs and
That's a hell of a good
catering
answer.
a business or a product or an idea to them. And I don't think it's perfect, but at the very least, if their thing is to have fun, then I'm going to hit it right on the head. Everything else, we might have to dive a little deeper, but probably
none of the
yeah.
superheroes' powers are perfect either, right? It's kind of like the fun thing about it, where like it's not a flaw, but like there's an imperfection about it, and I love that answer. And I was going to actually say my interpretation of your superpower through us reconnecting right now was that you have this uncanny ability to make somebody smile, and that's going to be something that you can take anywhere in your journey.
Mr. Make Your Day. Oh my God! Did we just my trademark? No, that's mine.
Copyright, trademark, whatever the R, the T, the CM, whatever it is.
There's Mr. Wonderful. Damn, it works.
Yeah.
Mr. Make Your Day. I would love that. If that was written on my tombstone, holy shit, what a life I lived.
Dude, I got so much out of this time together, and I hope I can clip this up and have everybody enjoy the amount of fun that you and I are having right now.
Oh,
but
God.
thank you so much for coming on, man. We haven't talked for a couple of years, and it's
Yeah.
cool that we kind of reconnected. And again, universe thing kind of coming back together, and I'm super glad we did, man. I'm so
Especially
proud of you
something
as
like
a
this.
friend and fraternity brother of
Yeah,
of
thank you.
Teak. It's just cool to see these things happen, and anybody that has success, I feel good about them and their journey. But hearing the way that you treat the community and the way that you treat your guests, not
Yeah,
your
thank you.
customers,
Yeah.
I just think that's special, man. That just goes into the story of why you're one of one, him, as the kids would say. And I hope everybody gets a chance to enjoy morning mugs, and maybe one day you come a little north, up where your roots are, and
I know.
bring it back, man.
So funny. I'm back in Bel Air. I mean, I'm literally passing my high school to get here. And like, everyone says Bel Air needs a coffee shop, so maybe I do have something for you.
Oh, okay.
Brought you some coffee.
Ooh.
That C word.
We've been talking about it. I'm like,
Exactly.
the C
So
word. Oh, yeah.
You're not going to get all the fun out of this bag of coffee.
Well, I
but
got some pretty good fun today.
You are going to get a damn good cup of coffee. So
Okay.
enjoy
Thanks,
that.
brother. I
And
appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you having me. I mean, this is fun.
Yeah.
You asked.
All about
what kind
fun.
of people I want to work with. Fun people. This is a good time. This is fun.
Yeah, man.
I have all the time in the world for this. So thanks for having me. Seriously.
Hey, appreciate you, brother.
Thank
and I'm
you.
excited about your journey. Hey, let's catch Tyler at Morning Mugs at the Federal Hill location and the Locust Point. Maybe soon to be a couple other places. We'll hook up and connect on social media, but enjoy it. I'm going to put his information at the bottom. If you're a business that wants to bring a coffee experience to your company,
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd love to have it, as long as one prerequisite follows. It's got to be fun.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Connected to the web. My man, we're out of here. See ya.